Hi everyone and welcome. Today I'll be showing you how to make this really beautiful shrug sleeves, however you want to call it. It is super easy and definitely beginner friendly, so if you want to know how to make this, stick along and I'll show you how to do this. I will be using 100% cotton yarn for this project. I will be using approximately 360 yards for this project, but you can decrease or increase the amount of yarn you need depending on your size. To begin, we are going to create a simple slip knot, and you can use whichever method that you want and works for you. Start by making a foundation chain that equals half of your bust measurement. For example, my bust size is 34 inches, so I chained 17 inches worth of stitches. Make sure your number of chains is even so the stitch pattern stays consistent. If needed, however, adjust by adding or removing a chain. Once you have the right length, let's move on to the first row. To begin the first row, we are going to chain 10 more stitches. Now to begin, we are going to create one double crochet into the 10th stitch from the hook. So the pattern is pretty simple. We are going to chain 3 and then create a double crochet into the 4th stitch from the hook, and then chain 3 and continue doing that until we get to the end of the row. So once we have got to the end of the row, we are going to simply chain 6 and flip our work over, and then continue doing the exact same pattern of creating one double crochet into the chain space, chaining 3, and then creating another double crochet until the end of the row. So at the end, again, we are going to chain 6, and then we're going to flip our work over, and we're going to continue creating as many rows as we need, and that will be the size length of the front panel. So I have finished my front panel, and you need to remember how many stitches or rows I should say you have created for the back panel so it's all even. Now to create the back panel, we are going to simply chain 6 and flip our work over. So now we are going to begin by creating the back panel, but before that we need to create the neck hole. So you can make as many double crochets into the chain spaces as you need. That will depend on the neck size that you are wanting to for the head space. So now we are going to create that. For my project, I did 4 little double crochets into the chain spaces on both sides. So now we are going to chain 31 stitches to get from one side to the other, and this is for size small. Again, if you're doing a different size, you can add or remove amount of stitches that you're chaining. Now we just need to connect our chain that we just created into the 5th chain space from the end, and to do that we are going to do a simple double crochet into the 5th chain. And just be careful here, you can hold on to the yarn because it's kind of tricky here, but it's not that difficult. So we're going to create 1 double crochet into that chain space, and then we're going to create 4 more double crochets into the next 4 chain spaces. So now to continue, we have already chained 6. We are going to create a double crochet into the next 4 chain spaces, and I will show you what to do once we get to the actual chain that we have created. So now that we have created 4 double crochets into the chain spaces, we're going to continue by creating double crochets into the chain that we just created. So we're going to count 4 chain spaces right from the little pole, and then into the 4th one we're going to create a double crochet, and we're going to continue doing that, counting 4 chain spaces, and into the 4th one we're going to create a double crochet. Now that we have created all those double crochets into the chain, we're going to continue by creating double crochets into the next chain spaces until the end, and we're going to create the same amount of stitches that we created for our front panel into the back. So here is the finished product. I have created the front and the back panel, and now we are going to attach them together but leaving space for the arms. So we're going to line them up evenly, and we're going to connect them by using slip stitches. And into the first one we're going to create a slip stitch into the chain space, and going on forward we're going to create slip knots into the stitches that are a little bit like sort of above the little poles that we have created. Now, how many stitches you connect together will all depend on how big or small you want the space for your arms to be. In my case, for the size small, I connected 4 chains together. So once we have created the desired space length that we need, we're going to start by chaining 3, and then we're going to create a double crochet into the next chain space, and we're kind of gonna do that all around in spiral, creating a sleeve length that we are wanting to. As you can see here, the sleeve is starting to form, and I'm just going to continue creating the spiral until I get my desired length. And make sure to remember how many stitches, or rows I should say, you have created, so it's equal for the other sleeve. And my first sleeve is completed, and I'm gonna repeat the same thing on the other side. And to do that, I will show you how to connect the other side together for the sleeve space, and it's really easy. All you have to do is just put your hook through the first 2 spaces that you're wanting to connect, attach the yarn to it, and then pull the yarn right through those 2 chain spaces. Hold it tightly because it can't come loose, and then you're just going to chain 1, and then you're going to simply start connecting all the other spaces that you need, making sure it's the same as the other side. In my case, I did 4, and here I'm going to connect 4 spaces together. Now here is the final product, and remember, any loose yarn that you have sticking out, you can just simply weave it in, and there you go. This is the final product, and again, I will show you what it looks like on me, and I think it's very lovely and very pretty for spring, more of a summer, and I really hope you enjoy it. So follow along. I have more fun tutorials to follow, super easy and beginner friendly. Thank you.